Știu.
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 Salut, sunteți la SFL, sunt Cristian Hoșic și astăzi vom vorbi despre IT, despre cum se pot digitaliza mai repede și mai ușor companiile românești. În a doua parte a emisiunii vom discuta despre cum a evoluat contabilitatea și auditul din România, cum vor rezista firmele de contabilitate și de audit și, bineînțeles, auditorii și contabilii asaltului inteligenței artificiale și ChatGPT-ului. Înainte să vorbim cu primul invitat de astăzi, ziarul financiar de astăzi, îl vedeți de aici ca să îl știți. Grupul Catena, Fildas, raportează pentru 2022 afaceri cumulate de, atenție, 2,5 miliarde de euro din farmacii și distribuția de medicamente, un plus de 28%. Cu toții ați auzit de Catena cu reclamele de la televizor, deci dacă vă întrebați ce cifre de afaceri face Catena pe farmacii, avem aici o cifră de afaceri de 6,3 miliarde de lei, cu un profit net de 316 milioane de lei și cu 6725 de angajați. Michael Schmidt, care este cel mai important importator BMW de pe piață, vrea un showroom Rolls-Royce la București. El spune: în România cu Rolls-Royce suntem în faza de analiză pentru a avea un centru fully fledged cu showroom pe lângă serviciul existent. Deja în România există o masă critică importantă, iar volumele sunt deja peste cele din Franța, Spania și Italia. Atenție, deci sunt bani în România. Ieri am raportat rezultatele pentru anul 2022, avem o cifră de afaceri de 7,1 miliarde de lei și un profit de 123 de milioane de lei. Ieri am avut conferința ZF Cyber Security Trends 2023, securitatea cibernetică, cei trei piloni importanți, oameni, tehnologia și politicile. Atâta timp cât putem acoperi cei trei piloni, putem alege oricâte soluții de securitate vrem. Cehii de la Tesla, nu sunt cunoscute în mașini, închiriază aproape în totalitate Eli Park Brăila pentru fabrica de baterii de 100 de milioane de euro. Cum poți dezvolta o fermă de strus? Pentru cei care sunt interesați, investiția inițială este de minim 40.000-50.000 de euro. Și bursa de la Istanbul în urcare după rezultatele alegerilor prezidențiale câștigate într-un final de Erdogan. Mergem acum la primul invitat de astăzi prin Zoom, alături de noi Michał RYKIERT, director Business Development pentru zona EMEA la Webcon. Michael, how are you? Do you hear me? Îi rog pe colegii mei dacă pot să vedem dacă putem să facem legătura. Suntem peste țări și mări, cred că suntem acum la Varșovia.
Hello, this is Michael.
Michael, how are you? I'm Christian, I'm the moderator. How are you?
I'm very well, thank you for having me.
Yeah, where are you? In Warsaw right now, or London, or Bucharest? Where are you?
I'm in Krakow.
In Frankfurt?
In Krakow.
In Krakow. Oh, in Cracovia. Oh, how is the atmosphere in Krakow?
Atmosphere is great, weather is great. So, feel free to come.
Okay, first of all, thank you very much for your presence here in our online TV show. Who is Webcon?
So, Webcon helps companies and organizations to be more efficient and competitive by optimizing and automating their business processes. So, in practice, that means that we are getting rid of paper, getting rid of manual, repetitive tasks, Excel files, flying with email, and we turn all of that into functional applications that simply help employees and people to be more efficient and to focus on the value-added activities. And we do all of that with low code. Well, it basically means that it's a little bit like Lego for building applications, right? So essentially speaking, you don't need to create everything from scratch. That's first. And second, you don't need to know how to code to create something fully functional. I could be a great example because I graduated from American studies, which is great, but nowhere near IT, and I can still deliver nice applications. And Webcon as a company, we're based in Poland. We're a Polish company, but we work all around the world with a particular focus on Europe and North America. We have offices in Poland, in United States, in Portugal, and internationally we work primarily through partners, including Romania.
Okay, in Romania, your operation starts in what year?
In 2016.
16, okay, so 7 years ago. And how is the business here in Romania? And then what is the difference from you, Webcon, and let's say UiPath?
Okay, so well, business is growing and we see a great potential in Romania. That's why we decided to strategically invest in this technology. And well, difference between UiPath and Webcon is significant. Because we have to consider that these are two technologies with two particular, let's say, focuses. So UiPath is an RPA, which stands for Robotic Process Automation. Webcon is a BPM software, which stands for Business Process Management. The terminology is slightly confusing because they have a process in the name. But UiPath and any other RPA solutions primarily focus on the robotic part, right?
Yes.
So basically replacing human repetitive activities with robots.
Yeah, with application, because it's not physical robots, it's an application on your laptop.
Exactly. And BPM focuses on connecting people, systems, data, different types of activities as a part of one application. So it's not essentially about replacing some human activity, but rather combining different types of activities as a one application. And in many cases, and actually our partners in Romania do that, they combine RPA and UiPath with Webcon to achieve full digitization and automation.
Okay, in Romania, how many companies do you have on the list? Okay, and right now, how is the market?
Okay, so in Romanian, we have several partners that represent us, implement Webcon, offer Webcon support, and so on. We have over 30 clients, and this is growing more and more over the time. And from my perspective, Romania is in the right moment to invest in this kind of technologies. So Romanian companies grow, they're more and more competitive, not only on the local market, but also worldwide. And they recognize and they reach certain level of maturity to see that digital transformation can simply help them being even more competitive and efficient with their activities. And at the same time, the traditional looking on digital transformation and how things are handled is not the way to go, right? So traditionally, companies in the past looked for off-the-shelf applications, or they looked to create something from scratch. But this is simply a thing of the past. This is either too expensive, too slow, or both.
Okay, so it is like, from your point of view, it is better to take an application developed by the other companies, okay, to put on your system.
It's not about outsourcing it to other companies. It's rather using the proper technology for a long-term strategy of digital transformation. In case of Webcon, we are called factory for applications, right? Which means our clients do not deliver one or two or three applications with Webcon. They deliver sometimes dozens, sometimes hundreds of them. And that's the whole goal, to be able to deliver a lot in the shortest amount of time possible.
Okay. After Webcon, it's started in Poland when?
It started 17 years ago.
17 years, okay. And the total turnover?
The total turnover for
After
the last
17 years?
Oh, I don't have the number. We're doing pretty fine. Believe me, we're in more than 80 countries
Okay.
worldwide.
So, if you compare Romania with Poland in digitalization, automatization, management, flux, and so on, where is Romania compared with Poland?
I would say, looking at the statistics, you have some catching up to do, but I would actually perceive that as an opportunity. Because if we look on some of the Western countries like Germany, United States, and so on, they now carry a lot of technological depth with them, right? So think about like checks in the banking industry, right? So some companies, some countries invested in that years ago, and it took them a long time to get out of this system and replace it with, internet banking, apps, and so on and so forth. What Poland did, and what I see happening heavily in Romania, is that we skip this kind of generation of digitization, so we could already invest in the newest technologies and essentially be leading the charge in terms of digitization and automation. So this is the opportunity I see, and this is how I perceive Romanian market, that you can be much quicker with your initiatives of digital transformation.
Okay, in the case of Romanian, what is your plan here? After, let's say, after 7 years, you see how is the market, where are the companies interested in buying your idea, your application, and so on. And from now to, let's say, 1 year, 2 years, or 5 years, what is your plan?
So essentially speaking, we're already here, right? We have partners that have great knowledge of the local market, of their clients' needs. They have fantastic skill set in IT and business, and they're successfully implementing Webcon. So let's say that's the first one, and we accomplished this this task. The second phase is to simply grow. And as I said, we mostly rely on partners. So we will be heavily investing in the existing relationships and existing partners to support them as best as we can. And at the same time, we want to grow. So we want more partners, which means also more clients and the business in Romania. And at the same time, we are investing in marketing, in events. I've just been to Timișoara on the IT Congress, which was organized by one of our partners, and so on. And ultimately, we want to be a top 3 low-code / BPM player on that market. We want to be the go-to company when it comes to implementing process applications.
Okay, who is number 1 and 2?
I would say number 1 is always Microsoft.
Okay.
It's the biggest player everywhere, and that's the only one that we care about.
Okay, so you fight with Microsoft.
In essence, yes. In many areas,
What
we
is
overlap.
What is your advantage if you compare with Microsoft? Companies call you and said, look, I have to offer from Microsoft and for you. Why should I choose you?
So, of course, we cannot compare with Microsoft on the level of size of the company, the budget,
of course.
the marketing, and so on. But we are very successful with implementing lots and lots of applications in a short amount of time. So I don't want to draw a direct comparison product to product, but Power Platform, which is in the space that we are, is a great tool, and it has many use cases that are fantastic. And we also do. We focus primarily on back office applications, on processes like anything about approvals, leave requests, and so on. And our clients actually can grow with the platform, right? So in Poland, in other countries, in Germany, they implement more industry-specific applications, like retailers implement mystery shopping, or manufacturers implement quality assurance. And they can go very, very far with this kind of approach, up to very mission-critical applications. Like Siemens Finance uses Webcon to digitize and automate all of their leasing processes. And this is the ultimate advantage of Webcon, that in the same amount of time as we would do a project with something else, and I'm not only talking about Microsoft, but anything else, Webcon simply is capable of delivering more value to the client, right? To enhance the work of employees and to let them focus on their core duties.
Michael, what is the low-code technology you promote?
So low-code, as I said, is basically Lego for building applications, right?
Okay.
So you don't have to know how to code, you don't have to be a programmer, and you can still deliver applications and deliver value to your organizations, which means companies can be fully self-sufficient with it. They don't necessarily need to rely on external services. They can create their own competence centers around low-code platforms and provide applications on their own.
Okay, and what is citizen development?
So citizen development is sort of a follow-up to the previous explanation that I've given, which basically means that citizens, which are non-technical people, are capable of delivering applications on their own without programming. That's what citizen development is.
Okay, in what way? Because me, I don't have any knowledge about the application, about IT. How can I find these kind of things?
Mm-hmm. So I'll use Webcon as an example, like how we do it. So essentially speaking, if you were to create an application supporting a specific processes in your organization, we would ask you, by giving you the software, to tell us, look, show us what are the primary stages of that process in your organization. So let's say, we need to register something, the manager has to approve it, then it has to be evaluated by the financial department, and then it ends, right? And then we ask you, what kind of data would you need to accomplish this goal, right? And all of that you define in a graphical way. So you basically drag and drop everything. And by doing so, not only you gather your requirements in a visual way instead of writing it down in the Word file or Visio or whatever else, but also you create a prototype of an application. So you can already test and see something tangible, and then you can decide whether this is the proper way to go or not. Right? So this is how in Webcon you can participate in delivery of applications as a complete citizen and a non-IT person, because it doesn't require any of technical knowledge. We only ask you, how should it work from a business perspective? And the rest is taken care of by the platform.
Okay, the companies, especially here in Romania, entrepreneurial companies, are afraid that when they enter in this partnership, when they buy these kind of products, in the end they will pay more. And yes, of course, they will have some improvement in the management of flow, but they had to invest, first of all, to take the application, and second, to invest in their own people in IT. What will be your answer? So the people said, look, it is very good in marketing to say, look, if you buy me this application, this kind of RPA, this kind of robotics, will replace some people, okay, but in the end I will pay more.
I disagree. First of all, it's not about let's say reducing the staff. It's about facilitating their work. It's about letting them focus on value-added activities. Let me give you an example, okay? And this is an example from Romanian market that our partner has implemented. And there is an organization in which there's one person with very high decision-making authority. And that person receives up to 800 documents a day to be signed. So imagine how much time does it require to sign each and every document by hand, right? So what our partner has done was to implement the whole process for managing the flow of contracts. And at the same time, they added a digital signature functionality with a bulk signature, right? Which means all of those 800 documents can be signed at once, and then that person can focus on something else, on something that will bring more benefits to the organization. And that's the whole idea. And speaking of investing in IT, we discussed citizen development, right? Which means, first of all, some of the work can be placed in non-IT departments. So basically, as a manager of HR, of financial department, of operations, I can already visualize my idea, create prototypes, and only then this would be finalized by the IT. And the unique strength of Webcon is the fact that we focus on covering a lot of ground out of the box. For instance, to provide automatic documentation to the applications we deliver, so you don't have to write it on your own. To provide great functionalities for maintenance, troubleshooting, migration, and so on and so forth, which means all of these activities don't have to be covered by IT members manually. They are taken care of by the platform itself, which means instead of focusing on that, you can focusing on delivering more applications and more value to your organization.
Okay, your application, it's valid in what kind of company? I mean, what is, how many people? If it is valid in, let's say, in a company with more than 10 million euro turnover, do you have some criteria?
I would rather look at the size of company from the employee number perspective. Typically, our clients are somewhere between, let's say, 200 up to 10,000 people, because this is the size where process applications are already needed, and to enforce certain procedures, to enhance the work, and so on and so forth. And at the same time, those companies already have the certain maturity and attitude towards digitization. And let's be honest, they also have a budget. But at the same time, we have clients from the whole spectrum. So we have clients with 50 people, and we have clients with 30,000 people where Webcon is introduced to every single employee. So I would say it's rather about the mindset, not necessarily turnover or the size, but you know, we see some trends and some tendencies. So that's why I said between 200 and 5,000 is our typical case.
Okay, what is the budget for a company with 200 people?
Budget for IT?
Yeah, no, budget in to take your application, to buy your application.
So it's a tricky question. But what is really good about Webcon is you can go step by step, right? Unlike our competition, we don't force our clients to go all in and to make 6-digit or 7-digit investment right away. You could easily invest 10, 15, 20,000 euros, start with 1 or 2 applications, see that this really provides some benefits and makes a change, positive change in the organization. And then the more you use the platform, the more users are using it, then you pay slightly more, but it goes increasingly higher, not all in upfront. So it can start as low as let's say 10,000 euros upwards, depending on the size of the project, depending on the number of users.
Okay, how a company can evaluate if the application of Webcon is working or not? At the end of the year, let's say at the end of 2 years, what is the metrics you use?
So essentially speaking, Webcon itself has process mining functionalities, can measure how much time does it take to perform a certain task, how much time users spend on filling out the form, and so on and so forth. So the best way how you can address it is to measure how much time did it take you before implementation and after the implementation. Of course, after is easier because all of the data is generated automatically. Before, well, it depends on what you have at the moment. But I could give you some real numbers. And for instance, Forrester, the analyst company, created a total economic impact report based on one of our implementations in the finance industry. And it basically said that it improved the time of processing internal cases by over 80%, and time to process external cases where it involves clients by over 60%. So this is the kind of gains and benefits that this kind of software offers.
In what sector your application works better?
Well, we focus on processes, right? And if you look at it from a certain perspective, everything is a process. If you make a coffee, it's a series of steps that you need to achieve a certain goal, which is nice, freshly brewed coffee, right? So from that perspective, processes exist everywhere, whether we are aware of them or not, right? And with that said, Webcon can be applied everywhere. We work with manufacturers, service providers, retail, finance, banking, higher education, and public administration, because they all do have processes. So for us, the industry is irrelevant. It's rather about specific requirements of the clients that we are able to meet.
Okay. In the end, what is the target to achieve here in Romania?
As I said, to be at least in the top 3 players and
Okay.
be the go-to company when it comes to, or go-to software when it comes to digitization of business processes.
Okay, so Michael, thank you very much for your participation in at ZF Live. All the best to be to enter in the 3 players in this sector. A fost Michał RYKIERT, director Business Development pentru zona EMEA la Webcon, o companie poloneză. Luăm minutul Business Magazine, ne întoarcem în partea a doua. Cum a evoluat contabilitatea în România? Cum vor rezista firmele de contabilitate și de audit asaltului inteligenței artificiale sau ChatGPT-ului?
După lovitura dată de pandemie, businessurile din Horeca care au reușit să supraviețuiască crizei au căutat cele mai la îndemână mijloace de a se reinventa pentru a-și aduce înapoi clienții. Una dintre soluții a fost reamenajarea spațiilor, care a reprezentat la rândul său colacul de salvare pentru companiile active pe această nișă de B2B. Ce tendințe se remarcă acum în piața de profil? O platformă de diagnostic rapid, exact, și posibilitatea ca grupul MedLife să fie la cel mult o oră și jumătate de orice pacient din țară sunt doar două dintre obiectivele bifate de Mihai Marcu, președintele MedLife. Ele vin însă după ani întregi de muncă, strategii și adaptare. Cum vede președintele celui mai mare operator medical privat din România, sistemul sanitar românesc, și ce planuri mai are? Pandemia a reprezentat pentru frații Cătălin și Andrei Budnaru contextul să treacă de la furnizarea de servicii de siguranță alimentelor la producția de dispozitive medicale, iar o fermă abandonată din județul Bacău, atent modernizată, este locul de unde acum ei dezvoltă singurele dispozitive medicale de diagnostic in vitro din România. Care este potențialul acestei nișe? Bitdefender, compania înființată de doi întreprinzători români, după cum le place soților Talpeș să își spună, accelerează în cursa pentru notorietate globală odată cu anunțul unui nou nivel al parteneriatului cu Ferrari, făcut chiar acasă la producătorul de automobile de lux. Iar această recunoaștere îl determină pe Florin Talpeș să spună, referindu-se la mult discutata posibilă listare a companiei, prin parteneriatul cu Ferrari am ieșit deja puțin pe bursă. Citiți despre toate aceste subiecte, dar și despre multe altele în cel mai nou număr al Business Magazine.